My friends, I had another very eventful weekend. So much to talk about that there's no point even trying to cover it in this little intro. We'll get to it right after this. Hello, my friends. Jerry Rosa here in the Rosa Stringworks Workshop. It is Monday, March 27th. March is just about gone. It's amazing how fast these months are going these days. I mentioned I had a lot going on over the weekend, and I'm going to get to that right after I send a little shout out to a good viewer friend out there in Barrie, Ontario, Canada. His name is Martin. He has a daughter named Tiffany. Tiffany had asked me a question over the weekend and said that her father was a huge fan of the show. So I just wanted to say hello, Martin, and thank you so much for watching the channel. I do really appreciate it. Golly, it was eventful. I mean, it's just one thing, then something else, then something else, then something else. First of all, my daughter and grandsons and their father all came from Ohio, and they brought friends with them. The friends have 3 boys. That family is staying in the rental retreat. My daughter and her husband and boys are staying at our house. To get them in here was a real fun treat. Take a look at this. The road is way over there. Well, as you can see, we literally had to drive down the railroad tracks to go pick them up. And then we had to drive back, of course, on the tracks to get them into the farm. And you could see all the flood water. The road was under approximately 2 or 3 feet of water at that time. And it probably rose to about 5 or 6 feet before it's over with. It is presently declining, and it is going down fairly quickly. It should be down yet today. We do have guests coming in later this evening, and I'm hoping it'll be down far enough that those guests can come in. And then I know we have another guest tomorrow. Mitzi is coming in from Illinois, and I think she's bringing an instrument too. The fellow coming in today is bringing a ukulele, I think, to have me look at it. And then Mitzi is coming in tomorrow, and I think she's bringing a mandolin, and I think she is going to be sitting in with us at the jam Tuesday evening at the restaurant. So we've got a lot going on and a lot coming up, but fortunately I think the water's going to be down so those other folks don't have to worry about it. Well, my friends, I want to interrupt the video for a second to make an announcement. I've got my grandsons Trinian and Leighton here, and they want to tell you something.
Grandpa just passed 90,000 subscribers.
Woohoo! And now that I've hit 90,000 subscribers, I can also tell you that Trinian and Leighton have started a YouTube channel. I have a link to their channel in the description, so go over there and give them a subscribe too. The other cool thing that happened over the weekend for me, and I know it won't mount to a hill of beans to the rest of you, but the Martins, the Purple Martins, came back on Sunday, and I was so excited to see them. And there was a big crew of them. I don't know, I'd say 8 or 10 were here already. That's pretty good for like the first day. I may have to put up some more houses. I went out and checked for mushrooms, did not find any yet. I think it's just a little early. I think the very earliest I've ever found them was like March 28th. And so that's tomorrow. So I'll be looking, from now on, I'll go out and scan my best spots and hopefully see some in the very near future. Another thing I did was Sunday afternoon. It was such a beautiful day here and it was so warm, I decided to take the metal detector and scan some areas that I hadn't scanned before. I'm glad I did that because I found some pretty cool stuff. Do you remember that I had found this piece of advertising from Anheuser-Busch? It's really hard to see it. I know you're not going to be able to see it very well. But what it says is malt nutrient, and it says for health, vigor, and appetite. And malt neutrine was an Anheuser-Busch product back in the 1880s. In fact, this is dated to 1880 is when this was made. This was a matchbox. It was for keeping your wooden matches in. And, you know, it would have had a back, of course, and a lid. And this was all we found of it, was just this front piece. In fact, my brother actually found this with his metal detector. I was on my way back there to where we found this at those home sites, but I was only, you know, a third of the way back there, and I found this, which is the back side of it. You can see the Anheuser-Busch and the eagle there, and I think this went around on the back side like so. This one here is all sprayed out, but the sides are supposed to curl in like they do on this piece. This piece here, you can see the sides are curled in. So this one's a little bit smaller, but not a lot smaller. And I think if the sides were curled in on this, they'd be the same size. So I'm pretty sure this is the back to it. And if it's not the specific back to it, at least it's a back to another matchbook that matches. So I do think they're a match pair. Whether or not they were originally together or not, I don't know that for sure. But the design down in the little corners down here, the little design matches. So I'm pretty sure that at least this was the back to a matchbox. So I think that's pretty cool to find the second half of that. I found this little thing that I don't really know what this is. I'm going to try to get it to focus there. It says Diamond Edge. It's just a little round deal. It's got a little square head right here, and it's got threads on it. I don't know what Diamond Edge stands for on this. You know, obviously this had a nut on it. I don't know what this was for. If anybody would happen to be able to know what that's for, I'd like to see it in the comments. Diamond Edge is what it says there. Then I found this little thing, and I have no idea what this is either, and whether or not you can see the design in this. This has got the Fleur de Lis. That's the French design, the Fleur de Lis. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly, but anyway, it's got that little design on it that is associated with the French, and even maybe now I'm tied into the Knights Templar. You just never know. I'm just kidding about that part, of course. But anyway, it was interesting to find this little tiny thing, and I don't really know what it is or what it was to. I wonder if it couldn't have been maybe the cap to a pair of cufflinks or some kind of jewelry thing. I just don't know, or maybe some fine furniture thing that I would say this is probably copper or brass. I really don't know. I didn't clean it up that much. And then really the very best find. You know, I've been trying to tie everything into the Civil War here. Well, look what I found again. Another 3-ring bullet. Now this one is a 54 caliber. Lots of folks tried to tell me the first one I found was 54, and it's a 69. This is a 54 caliber mini ball. You can see it's got the hollow shape. Here's the first one I found. Now this one's been fired. This was a drop. This new one I found is a drop. The original one there was fired, and it's in pretty bad shape, but you can see how much bigger it is than this one. I did look it up, and I'm pretty sure it matches the picture exactly of what people are calling the 3-ring 54 caliber mini ball from the Civil War. But this one, like I said, is a drop. So now I found those 2 mini balls. I found this other Enfield. I think it's a Sharps Enfield. I'm not really sure about the name of this one. I forgot already. But this one here, it matches the picture on the Civil War bullet exactly, even including the little line that's across the back there. So it's an exact match. So I've shown these before, but I found these 2 Fitch Van Vecht rimfire bullets casings. These were made in 1864. And then I found this Civil War General Service eagle button. Don't know if the eagle's going to show up there, but it's there. And so that's pretty cool. So now I have found 6 things for sure that I can identify as Civil War. And then I found this weekend also, which I really don't know if this is Civil War or not, but it's got the right patina. It's a round ball, and it could definitely be Civil War, but I just can't say that for sure because there were lots of round balls used over the years. But anyway, those are the best finds I found this weekend. I found quite a few other things too, but that was just on the trip from the front of the farm here toward the back. I didn't even get very far. I only made it about a fourth of the way back to those old home sites. So there's a lot of ground to cover here that's never been covered. I can't imagine all the things that are laying in the ground. To me, it's very interesting. I know to some people this kind of stuff matters not at all, but I like history, and it's really neat, especially because it's partly my history now with the fact that I own this farm. The project with the thickness sander plans went very well. I did get those plans uploaded. I have sold them at least a half dozen times already. Interesting enough, the very first sale went to a fellow over in Germany, and he bought them before I even put out the little video saying that they were available for sale. So that's pretty cool that he had bought them before I even made everyone aware. I had real trouble with my song download over the weekend, and apparently it's been down for a while. I just didn't know it. It was not related to me uploading the sander plans at all, because the last sale was like a month and a half ago or so, so they've been down a long time. I just wasn't aware of it, and I did finally get that fixed too over the weekend, so that's behind me too. Just seems like when it rains, it pours, and it floods the road whenever it does that. This is my next project in line. I mentioned it before, but I'm actually going to get started on this morning, and I'm really hoping that I'll get this thing done fairly quickly, and then we'll move on to his mandolins. He's got a banjo and a mandolin here for setup, and we'll get those done hopefully, possibly today, because I'm not going to go into the office today. I just got to get this work caught up and get this out of here, so that I can start my hiatus. And of course, like I told you, there's another instrument that I actually have to do before I can start the hiatus also. So these three, and then I can get on to other things. I think that's going to be it for today. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we will see you tomorrow.